Welcome to the BXG Podcast, the podcast where pop culture and nerd culture meet.
You think it's just going to be barbecue sauce?
Because if you actually read those books, it's just gobbledygook.
I really think clothes should be mandatory.
Speaking of Star Wars,
Captain America.
trailer reaction video. We were all Willow. Or they were all Willow.
All Willow.
Yeah. The season
Look
finale.
at the sky. Look how it shines for you.
And they were all Willow.
Oh, Willow.
So the season finale of Disney Plus Willow. The rest of the band jumps off the waterfall and joins Kit and Alora as they are confronted by Eric, who has a new haircut. And he brings them before the crone, who sends them into the light, where they are tempted with the thing that they want the most. I think I was kind of out of it at that point. I didn't really care. And then Willow shows up, and he initially hadn't jumped with the rest of them. He was going to go back home to Mims. But then he shows up and says, she's Alora Dannon and she's going to kick your ass or whatever. And then there was some fight, pokey poke with some different things.
Fight, pokey poke.
Then Graydon tries to give it his all after the crone turns from this beautiful young lady to Emperor Palpatine. And then she uses the Force to knock him back into the light. And then she uses Force lightning that is red. And Alora Dannon uses green Force lightning, which, makes sense because that's what Luke's lightsaber is in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And then she blows a hole in her torso. And it was very Raiders of the Lost Ark at the very end with the claymation things.
Yeah.
And then they've saved the day at this point. Borman was going to go out fighting butt naked and kicking ass, and Kit and Jade are friends and lovers, part-time, full-time, what have you. And then there was an end credit scene that was before the credits, which I actually kind of appreciated. And it was Graydon inside of the light, and Alora's giving him this very wanton, I need someone to help me rule the world. And then Money for Nothing and Chicks for Free starts playing, which is a dope-ass guitar solo, but didn't make any sense with this context.
Didn't make any sense.
At all. And I've really, I was expecting, okay, I can see how it's going to be like Icky Thump or something like that.
Yeah.
But then I hear it. I hear the drum solo at the beginning of that song, and I'm a big Dire Straits fan, so I'm hearing. I'm like, are they really going to go out with Money for Nothing on the end credits of the season finale of this show? A song that no one will get because it's from the late 70s and early 80s.
Yes,
which is, I guess, when this movie's from. Well, late 80s, but hey, Dad, what's this song?
What's this song?
What were your that's why I got my MTV shirt on, because I want my MTV.
Yeah.
And it fits for the first time in 2 years.
I
hated this. I hated the whole show. I hated the finale so much. I was bored for half of it, and then I was disinterested with the other half.
Okay. I would say I was disinterested, and then I just was out. It was one of those things where the disinterest was just gone to a point of saying that I was disinterested would also include the word interested.
You were just dis?
I was just dis. I was pretty done. I was watching it at school for about 20 minutes. And I have it on my laptop, and I have nothing else going. I don't even have my phone. It's in my pocket. And I just start staring at the wall. I catch myself staring at the wall behind my computer.
Yeah.
as if there's something there. And then I like kind of wake up from my daze of like, and this was after I was feeling fuzzy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, the show is still like going on. And then I looked at the time, hoping that 30 minutes had passed, and it was only about 2.
5.
So, so I will say the thing that I'll say about this episode, and then we'll shift it to the larger part of it. The part with this episode was that it was very corny at the beginning. It was
Yeah.
just corny and like over, like it just, I don't know what was going on there. Like he was weird, and they were like, it was just a weird meeting. And then Willow decides not to join, and then he just pops up, and
Okay. Yeah.
and that just kind of like, I understand the show's Willow, but it's like, why didn't he just go? I don't think it changes anything if he just goes. So that was a weird thing for me. And then the end was just like you said, there was like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then there was the green, the sky, and I,
Yeah.
you know,
She he busts her out of fantasy world, and she literally, well, not literally, but very figuratively turned into Emperor Palpatine. It's like, oh, you're
yeah,
grotesque and shooting red lightning out of your fingers. Come on. It's
yeah, and so
amazing. Disney just keeps bringing Palpatine back. He's probably going to be in the MCU
what,
next. It's going to be like, oh,
what
we
is
don't know how he got there. It's the
what is the love
multiverse,
affair with
clones.
Palpatine?
I
Does
don't
he
know.
have like blackmail on these people? I mean, there's
Seriously.
something going on there. So yeah, the end, the post credit, not post credit scene,
Right.
like also was just weird. Like, I want you to join. It was so, I don't know.
Did her hair
And
get redder as the season
yeah,
went on?
it
Okay.
definitely got redder. It definitely,
Yeah.
and so that was odd. And then
Well, I'm
yes,
sure
the
that was
song,
supposed to be some type of symbolism or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, like getting redder is
More
like
strength,
I
more.
don't,
Who
yeah,
cares? Getting
yeah,
more
exactly.
injury.
And then I think it was just like the cherry on top. I'm glad you said that. When Dire Straits, the song, not actually Dire Straits, but
That would have been better
that would have been
if they were
insane.
just like in this like Dust Bowl city, just no, 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 no,
That
no,
would be
no.
sick. Or like, yeah, that would have been great. Uh, like the Guardians thing where the band just plays the Christmas special.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been
yeah,
sick.
yeah.
And
But
but when
not
that
dressed
song
up
came on,
in Willow garb, like literally
yeah,
like the headband and like the loose button up shirts and everything straight out of the, like with the jean
yeah.
thing rolled up to the
Oh, it would have
sleeve.
been so sick. And I'm glad I wasn't drinking anything because I definitely would have spit take took. I don't know. And I literally just said, I said out loud with no one around. I was at my house now at this point, and I'm just like, Breton. I just like just said your name. I didn't say any. I didn't like say. I all I said was Breton. I literally just said your name because you're like the biggest Dire Straits person that I know, maybe just ever. And so when that's all I said, and then I just walked away. I didn't even finish watching the scene. I like finished watching like I didn't care if there was like an actual post credit. I
There
just walked away.
was there was
Okay.
one. I've got
Okay.
bad news for you. So the post credit scene was whoever the person reading the book is. Okay, because this is like a book,
Yeah.
right? Whoever the person reading the book is closes it and puts it back on the shelf, and it says volume 1, and there's 3 more volumes.
Oh, you know what? I saw that by accident.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
There are
I
two
wasn't
more.
really
There's 3 total. So I
okay.
guess
So we
that means
got
there's going to be 2 more seasons, and
2 more seasons.
I'll tell you what, I can wait.
Yeah,
I
I can
can
wait.
I can wait.
Jennifer Love, who it's not in this. I can wait.
It was so, like, in all seriousness, the problems that I had with the last episode, he just, like you said, he just shows up out of nowhere. And they're trying, like, Borman's prying the door open, and then Graydon's like using the magic and it's shaking, and somehow Willow just gets by all of that. He's just like,
Yeah,
what, I mean, I guess we're supposed to know that he's like this all powerful sorcerer. But he even says throughout the original movie and the series, like, I'm just mostly lucky, you know.
Yeah.
And so then he somehow shows up, gets through the wall or gets through the doors, gets into the chamber, gets into the light, finds them, and still has the wherewithal to, like, he's not affected by this. Like, he's not going to go in there and see like his daughter
It's chilling.
and everything. He's just like, I'm because she's a Laura Dannon and I have the higher ground, you know.
I'm almost surprised that I am surprised that just wasn't a line or some form of that line.
But it was like, okay,
I'm above you.
you've got
You're
the
lower
low
than me.
ground.
You've got the lower ground.
It would be funny because he's so short, but
yeah.
it's so there was that. This episode was over the top with the cringy dialogue. Like when Borman is like, well, I figure it's about the end of the world, so anybody want to make out? It's like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
And they just look at him, they're like, you're stupid. And it's almost like that was almost, it felt improv, and they're like, leave it in.
And then they referenced it again 20 seconds later, too. He's
20,
like, well, you're the ones that didn't want to make out. And it's like, oh, my God.
Yeah. And there were some other, like, I don't remember a great deal of like cursing throughout the whole season. And then in the last episode, it's like, what is this shit? It's like, where did that come from? Like, that was entirely unnecessary.
Yeah.
And
that was weird.
The other thing was that, and I felt this probably hurt the show for me in the long run, was there was this whole quest to, we have to save Eric. He's who we have to save. It's not that Elora Danan, this great sorcerer to be, is going to defeat the bad guy or the bad girl, whatever, the crone, Palpatine. It was never that. It was, we have to save Eric. And like the kid who played Eric was so stiff.
Yeah.
In terms of his acting. And I did not care about that character at all. So the consequences of the end of like, here's my magic rock, if you talk to him, he'll come back. It's like, I kind of hope he doesn't hear her, because he's kind of a clown.
Right.
Which is to say, when you say to somebody, who the hell is this clown? It's a double insult. Because not only are you calling them a clown, but you're also saying they're not even a well-known clown.
One of my favorite memes this week has been that. It's so good.
Yeah. I was glad I could incorporate that.
So good. Not even a well-known clown. That's so good.
It was like, I thought the finale was like it was just like a really, it was like a blueberry on top of just a very, very average sundae. It's like not even the cherry on top. It's just like a blueberry or like rhubarb on top of your sundae.
Yes. I mean, rhubarb would be not good.
Yeah. Or what's the other asparagus? Rhubarb. It's like asparagus. It just makes your pee smell weird. And it's just sticking out of a sundae for no goddamn reason.
Oh my God.
So what would you give the season overall?
Oh my God.
With the asparagus sundae.
Wow. I mean, I feel like the fact that I gave up many times throughout the season. The fact that I thought this would be better too really hurts, because there was that part where I was just like, I really thought this was going to be good.
Never judge a book by its trailer.
Yeah, and
because we also thought that Lord of the Rings was going to be good based on the trailer.
Yeah,
wah,
yeah.
Wah, wah.
And I would say like the Disneyfication probably hurt too.
Yeah.
I did not like this. I did not. it felt like work. And we watched some like not good things on here that never necessarily felt like work. This felt like work to me. I'm just gonna say straight down, like, because I could see the appeal.
Well, and that's the thing, and we've talked about
It's
this. This
like,
isn't really made for us, I don't think.
yeah. So
It's
I will.
very young adult. Very young
I'll give
adult.
it this. It's very young adult. It watches like that is, I
Yeah.
guess, the best way to say it. Watches like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, I think I'm gonna change the score. Then, like, I think it's a 5. I think it's just
Yeah.
a straight down the middle average show. It's not a 50% out of 100. I think a lot of times people think that is like the scale. It's not that. 5 just
Right.
means it's average. It's just
Right.
perfectly average. It almost, and I didn't do it like this, but it is almost like a background show.
Mm,
It's not quite bad enough to be background, but it's also not good enough to be like fully focused. And so that's why I say it's, because not all background shows are necessarily bad. You just don't have to pay attention to them to catch up.
sure.
And so this is, yeah, just perfectly down the middle. Yeah, that's a 5, a 5.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say that there's probably more enjoyment found if you are within what I would call the target demographic of this show. It's disappointing for me because I am a fan of the original film. Although that's one of those things where it's probably not as good as I remember it being. And it's just
Right.
kind of one of those things that I look back on having seen it, and it's got like peak 80s Val Kilmer and a very young Warwick Davis. And it's, George Lucas wrote it and Ron Howard directed it. And so there's all these names kind of attached to the memories of it. And it probably, if I sat down and watched it, I was like, okay, this probably not as good. So I think sometimes you look at those things through rose colored glasses. And I think that is maybe where my expectations lied, not necessarily with the quality of the original, but more so maybe just the nostalgia piece. And then
Sure.
this didn't live up to that. But in hindsight, actually thinking about the film and removing those kind of rose tinted spectacles, it probably did live up to the movie. But again, I don't think we're the target demographic for this. So I would say to wit, perchance that this would also be a 5 for me.